Alright guys, welcome back to episode number 3. If you haven't checked out the ones in the previous series, go ahead and check them out and you'll get caught up on what we're doing with a 3D printer. If you guys like these longer episodes, go ahead and let me know in the comments. That would be awesome. So in this episode, we're going to actually make a 3D enclosure, which you can see installed on the printer here. We'll go through how we did that and what improvements it may have made. So stick around, check it out. Okay, for the enclosure, I'm going to keep it pretty simple, but I've got kind of two major requirements. The first one is that it completely surrounds the 3D printer without encroaching on its print volume. The other thing is that it doesn't get in the way, so when I'm pulling prints off, or I need to clean the bed, or anything like that, the whole thing can get out of the way pretty easily. The way I think I'm going to do that is I've got some drawer slides, standard ball bearing drawer slides. These are full length plastic corners that mount on top of that, and then we'll just laser cut some acrylic to go across each of the three faces. And you can see I've already got one set up here, so that slides up completely out of the way so that I have full access to the printer. Alright, so I can tell you right now, this is going to take a lot of 3D printing. Each one of these took about 3 hours to print, so let's print the rest of them and put it together. Okay, yeah, that was a lot of 3D printing, but now that it's done, let's see if we've made any improvements. So to do that, I think I'm just going to make a real simple overhang test. That's always seems to be what gives me the most trouble with this printer. So we'll dig into that and see what improvements we've made. Okay, for this first test, we're going to leave the cooling turned off and the enclosure open. The big challenge with this print is that it's a pretty small print, so each layer doesn't have time to cool. The cooling is going to make a big difference. You can see it's just a mess. The whole print is still kind of squishy. The layers haven't had time to cool down. Alright, in this next test, the cooling has been turned on. It's only at about 50% cooling. And it's definitely made a difference, but you can still see we're struggling a bit with those overhangs. You can see that they're curling up between each layer. Alright, and in this next one, we've lowered the enclosure and we've increased the bed temperature to 90 degrees C. This was an attempt to see if we could keep the whole thing warm and prevent some of that curling from happening, but what it did instead is just made everything squishy, so that's not going to work. Alright, in this next one, the enclosure is down and there's no bed temperature whatsoever, and that's definitely a bit of an improvement. We're trying to keep the part a little bit cooler from the get-go. Okay, so in this one we've reduced the print speed by 50%. This has made a huge improvement on the look of it. So this is just giving the print a bit more time to cool down. Okay, in this next one we've reduced the print speed even more. This is at about 30% of where we started, and this is definitely an acceptable print. It's definitely taken a while to print this, so maybe there's something we can do to increase the overall speed. So in this one, to give it a good test to see if it was the slower speed or the time between the layers, I'm printing 3 identical pieces at 90% speed, which should be about the same time between layers, but that seems to only have made a small improvement. Okay, so this is the settings that I think we're gonna stick with. The perimeters are printed at about 50% speed, and the infill is printed at about 100%. So we kind of get the best of both worlds. Each layer doesn't take very long to print, but those perimeters are staying fairly flat. It's not a perfect print, but it's a good compromise. Alright guys, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I think we made some pretty big improvements to the 3D printer. Still some tweaks to be done, but I'll go ahead and mess with that off camera. If you guys are interested in more 3D printing videos, go check out Tom Sandlander's YouTube channel. He does an awesome job reviewing 3D printers and 3D filament, so check that out. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.